Moving to Roatan, Honduras, and your immigration status if you are not a Honduran citizen. This is something that we have to think of right away. You used to be given a little bit of time to figure things out. However, we have to follow the rules now. I'm not saying wrong, right, or otherwise. You just have to follow the rules. So if it is your first time coming to the country, if you're flying into the mainland versus Roatan, you will most likely get 90 days, which it is 100% up to the customs agent or the immigration officer at the airport on how many days you will get. Sometimes they give you 90 days, sometimes they give you 20 days. It's really up to their discretion. So my biggest advice is to be kind, be nice, say thank you, just take what you can get. And then you also have the option to go to the immigration office and get an additional 30 days. A lot of times if you are not a resident yet and you're still on that tourist visa, you will get a little bit of hassle, especially if you're coming in and out of the country a lot. And they've really been cracking down in Roatan with that. So it is good to start your residency paperwork, especially if you plan to be here, well, longer than just 2 weeks. So residency is taking about 9 to 12 months right now. There's several different options to get your residency. I would say get started if you know you're moving here, you bought a house or whatever reason, and you plan to spend time here. It's great to get on that paperwork now. Yes, it's expensive, but it's also going to be a lot cheaper than having to, well, one, get deported because they do those sweeps now. Two is flights on and off the island are very expensive, and if you have to leave after 20 days, even though you can just leave the country for 72 hours, it does get very expensive. So it is good to start that process, start that paperwork. A lot of times if you are on that tourist visa, in order to get into the country, they want to see an exit flight. So buying a one-way can end you, well, they can make your life a little bit difficult. So it's always good to have that exit. And while you are working on residency, I would suggest be prepared to leave every 90 or 120 days. And then leave for 72 hours. You come back and then it starts the clock again, assuming you get the maximum amount of time. And usually if you explain it and you're kind, it ends up working all right. And they also like to know that you are working on the residency. And so if you can show them that paperwork, that you have at least started the process and that you're working on it, that helps a lot. And if you do know you're going to start your residency, I would get in touch with an attorney before you come down here, because there's going to be a lot of paperwork that you are going to need, and it's going to have to be apostilled, which is usually done in a capital city somewhere, wherever you're coming from. And you're going to need a lot of original documents, and you can do it, some of it online, but it is a premium service to get all of the apostilles that you need. So it's about $200 for like a background check that you can do on an online service, versus if you just go to the police station wherever you're from. It's nice and simple. You do need a clean record though, otherwise it's going to be very difficult to get residency in the country. But I would contact an attorney before you come down here, just so you know what paperwork you need. Otherwise it's going to get very expensive with just the background's $200 a person, and then you have to do your, well, lots of passport, that one's easy, but you have to do birth certificate, marriage certificate, all the things, and they have to be original and apostilled, which to get each one of those, they usually, well, if you go in person, it's $3. If you have an online company, it ends up being about $100 each. So it is a premium service, and it'll save you a lot of time and hassle if you start that process before you come down. It'll also give the immigration officers a little bit more leeway with how much time they give you. So thank you guys for tuning in. What are your questions?